I'm Mosley. I'm in the Department of History and Classics in the College of Arts and Humanities. So I'm a senior lecturer in the department. I'm currently Programme Director for the MAs in History, Early Modern History and Modern History. I'm a historian of science and I work mostly on 16th and 17th century science and scholarship. I teach, more broadly, I teach early modern history at various levels, and I teach historical methods and historiography. A lot of my teaching at the moment is for the MAs as Programme Director. I've experimented with different times for different classes to the extent that I've been able to do that. The one significant innovation I think that I've introduced into a particular module is taking a 2-hour slot and breaking it up into 2 1-hour slots, one in the morning and one in the afternoon, so that I could ask the students to do things in the intervening period and report back on them, because that was for an MA module in historical skills and historical methods, where the students are only going to learn by doing. So I tried to make sure that they had the space to do that individually and in groups, and I tried to make sure they didn't have other things, most of them, to do in the period between those two classes. It's in its second year now, so I think it's certainly made a difference to the way the students experience that module. I think it has been successful, probably more successful this year than last year, partly I think because I was better able to ensure that students didn't have other distractions during the period between the 2 hours. And also because I think the cohort of students this year have worked well together as a group and in subgroups. I think everyone has experienced difficulties with timetabling over the past couple of years, and that's partly because there have been more demands on space that's available, partly because as timetabling has become more and more centralised, things that we used to take for granted have had to be made explicit to the timetabling team, but also we've had to bring them to the front of our mind. So, for example, in the College of Arts and Humanities, a lot of our teaching takes the form of lectures supplemented by seminars, and we might have many seminars associated with a particular module, and our expectation would be that students taking that module would attend one of those seminars each week. But I think when the information was accepted by states and the timetabling team, and they were trying to produce a timetable that was free of clashes for students, I don't think that it was clear to them, so they were actually trying to timetable in using a model in which students would attend every one of those seminar groups, which obviously made it much harder to create a timetable that avoided clashes. But I think as we get more used to the timetabling software and the timetabling system, I think we're going to work out precisely what we need to tell estates in order to get the timetable that we need. Yes, sometimes, despite the best efforts of the timetabling team, there have been clashes for students. So one of their classes has been timetabled at the same time as another. Normally what I've done in that situation is look at the modules to see what kind of module they are, whether, for example, it's a case of a seminar being timetabled against a lecture, what the scope is for students to change one of those classes. Sometimes there's been a clash that we can't resolve that way, and then I would normally advise the student to get in touch with the module coordinators. I do enjoy teaching, but do I really have to pick just one reason why I like that? I get a lot of pleasure from the seminars I have with students where we're actually thinking, talking about a topic, a difficult topic, in the room in real time, where I suppose what I see my job as is not so much to convey a particular body of knowledge to my students, but to help them to learn. And seeing that happen in front of my eyes is one of the most satisfying parts of the job. There are a couple of things that I would like to change, one of which I suppose is in my power to try to change, and one of which is not so clearly in my power. As a historian, I deal a lot with different kinds of evidence about the past, and a lot of my teaching at various levels is trying to get students to engage with that evidence and tease out from that evidence what can be learned from it about particular topics in history. And I try to give students a lot of opportunities to do that. Actually, I think it would be good if I devoted more time in some of my courses and classes to show them by example how I do that. The thing that's not so much in my power to change, although I have changed it for myself a little bit, is workload. I think everyone recognises that students do not learn as well when they're stressed and tired. But it's also true of lecturers. I think I became a better teacher since I became part-time, because that meant that I was under less stress and felt less overwhelmed by the workload. And so I could think more and behave more, I think, naturally and humanely in the classroom. And I see lots of my colleagues who do a brilliant job of teaching, but who I know do feel overwhelmed by the sheer quantity of work they're supposed to do.